In this video, we're going to talk about how to create and automate an accounting newsletter. Now, you may already have a newsletter, maybe you started one, maybe you started and stopped. It's not easy to kind of keep it consistent. So, what I'm going to show you today is my personal toolkit, how I actually automate my newsletter. So, we're going to actually pull back the curtain and take a deep dive. I'm going to show you how I structure it, how I use AI and ChatGPT to automate some parts of it, kind of going through my workflow and how I am also monetizing it through different steps as well. So this is going to be pretty exciting. I'm excited to share this with you. So let's go ahead and let's hop on over to our ChatGPT here. And I'm using ChatGPT 4. You can use the free edition. I'm using the $20 a month GPT-4 because it's just so much better. Anyway, so let's go to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a prompt, and you can use the same prompt to modify it as well. Let me just kind of zoom in a little bit so we can see this better. So the way that I'm doing this is it really depends on your kind of practice, right? So whether you're accountant, bookkeeper, tax pro, you may have a particular niche. So for example, let's just use the tech startup. That's kind of like my focus. So here's the prompt. You're going to type in. So I run a practice type. So we're going to have some placeholders here. So I run a practice type. Give me 5 ideas for a weekly newsletter that would provide tremendous value to my clients and prospects in my accounting niche. That's where you're going to enter your niche for idea. Create for each for each idea, create 3 compelling subject line recommendations. Okay, so the practice type. All right, so I'm going to replace that with 100% remote accounting and tax practice. Maybe your practice type is CFO services, or maybe you're a bookkeeper, or maybe you're, I don't know, a tax resolution specialist. And then you're gonna place that with the placeholder there. And then for the accounting niche, that's your niche. So like I said, my focus is tech startups. So I'll enter that. For you, it could be veterinarian services, construction, real estate. So you can try several of these. Okay, so you can enter that, and then when you hit enter, it's going to go ahead and come up with the different ideas. So remember, I asked for 5 ideas with 3 compelling subject line recommendations. So this is how it flows, right? So when I hit enter, it gives me those 5 ideas. So idea number 1 is funding and financing insights. Stay on top of the latest trends and strategies in startup funding and venture capital. Share new funding opportunities, yada, yada, yada. That's not really my thing, so I'm going to go ahead and skip this particular ideas. But it gives you, like I said, different subject lines as well. So top 5 VC funding opportunities for your tech startups, right? Understanding equity distribution, save on taxes now, capital raising tactics for your tech startup, right? So if you do tech startups and you focus on a lot of, work with a lot of funding, this could be a great newsletter that you could actually get out for your particular audience, okay? So this was one newsletter idea. The second one is tech startup tax savvy. This is cover topics that tech startups often miss in their tax planning, providing them a heads up on how to maximize savings, deduct new tax laws, changing regulations, and tips for making the most out of credits and deductions. Now, this is right up my alley. I love this stuff. I love tax planning. So let's look at some of the subject line here. So maximize your tax returns, top credits and deductions for tech startups. Okay, new tax laws tech startups must know. Keep more of your profits and avoid common tax pitfalls. Save thousands as a tech startup. I really like that one. Okay, so I might just actually go with this one here. So a few more ideas. So another one is financial management tools and strategies with a few subject line here's. The 4th idea is remote working and taxation. So remember, I mentioned that I'm 100% remote tax firm. So it's giving me some tips on working with folks remotely. So the financial upside of remote work, home office deductions explained, cross-border taxes for remote teams, navigating state tax liabilities in a remote work world. So this is great as well. I'm going to show you in just a moment how to kind of keep track of all this stuff in a workflow. And then the final one, idea 5, case study breakdown. So this is basically where you're kind of going through your case studies that you're using with clients. So like I said, some great ideas here. So let's do this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let's kind of track. So I'm going to show you how to basically keep track of these here. So these are all great ideas. What I use is a application called Trello. It's a free app, Trello.com, and basically, if you use like ClickUp or Trello, they're kind of very similar sort of workflow apps. You can kind of drag and drop. They have paid versions, but I'm just using the free version of Trello. It's great for what I do. So if you're running if you want to create a newsletter, you kind of look at this as kind of like if you want to sort of see it as a content calendar. Basically it's divided into key workflow steps, right? So the first is newsletter topic ideas, right? So what I did is I literally copied from ChatGPT all the key subjects here, and then I can pop them in here, and only for the ones I like. So I like the tax ones. I like the ones where we're talking about the accounting apps as well. So for example, you see, maximize your tax returns, top credits and deductions for tax startups, right? So this is the first part. So I'll kind of start, I'll load them all up there, and then the ones that I want to start working on, I'll move to the researching, right? So right now I'm researching financial management tools your tech startup can't live without, okay? And now here's the thing. I'm actually going to probably get rid of this column because now I'm using ChatGPT for a lot of the research. So before I'd have to Google or Bing a lot of things, parse through different PDF files. I'm going to show you a cool thing in just a moment on how to do that too. So I'm kind of being able to accelerate this. The next step after that is once I have it structured, I can go ahead and draft it up. Okay, so these are the ones that I'm drafting, and then finally when it's published, I can just literally move it over here to the published, and then it will drop here, and I know that I am done. This is a very simple workflow. There's tons of ways that you can edit, do additional automations. I'm going to keep it really simple for this one. I like the one that's called Avoid Common Tax Pitfalls, so I think we're going to go with this for the example. Let's hop back on over to ChatGPT. And as I mentioned, these are basically all generated from the prompt, and I'm going to actually share this prompt as well. So I'll have a link where you can actually grab this entire conversation. You can literally copy and paste so you don't have to type it all over again. Okay, so the next step here, I'm going to go with a follow-up prompt and ask it to write the actual newsletter. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just copy in a prompt that I created a little earlier, and you can use this one as well. So this one says, now write a 500-word newsletter article based on the subject, avoid common tax pitfalls, save thousands as a tech startup, use the following 5 sections. Now let's unpack this prompt a little bit, right? Because the first thing I want to do is I want to tell it how many words I want, so about 500 or so. ChatGPT is not super good with being exact, so it may be 400, it may be 600 sometimes. And then I'm giving it the actual article and quote, so it knows which one I'm asking about. It remembers the prior conversation history, so it's going to reference that. And then finally, I want to break it down into chunks, right? So you'll get better results from ChatGPT when you try to give it some sort of outline format. So in this case, I want to set it up as, number 1, the problem, number 2, common solutions, number 3, their shortcomings, number 4, our unique situation, so your firm's unique situation, and then 5, action steps for tech startups, okay? So let's go ahead and click enter on this here, and let's get it to write the 500-word newsletter based upon this subject. So now it's going to start writing, and it gives the subject here, all right? So it starts with the problem. In this case, it says, dear client's name. Now, we don't need the client's name because in this case, with the newsletter, if you have the name, that's great. If not, you can just basically take it out. We're going to copy a lot of this stuff here. So the problem, so it says, one of the more challenging aspects of running a tech startup is effectively navigating the intricate maze of taxation. With the thrill of innovation and fast-paced growth, tax planning can often take a back seat, leading to costly oversights. Okay, so it starts off with the problem, and then it goes into the solution. Typically, most tech startups resort to a few common solutions to tackle their tax obligations, including hiring in-house tax experts or outsourcing to accounting firms, investing in tax software, and trying to stay updated with the ever-changing tax regulations. They may also consider structuring business transactions or making strategic decisions based on perceived tax benefits. Okay, so then it talks about the shortcomings, right? And I did this on purpose because I want to set this up to be helpful, but I want to kind of show sort of, how things are done typically, but then how our firm actually approaches it. And I'm not going to copy this verbatim. Of course, I'm going to edit this before I'm ready to publish it. So it says, while these measures are a start, they're often insufficient to fully harness tax benefits or avoid pitfalls. Software can handle basic returns, yada, yada, yada. In-house accountants may be useful, but not always stay abreast of changing laws. Lastly, making business decisions purely based on tax considerations may undermine strategic goals and long-term growth. So then it goes into our unique situation, and this is where you fill in your firm name. We understand the unique tax challenges faced by tech startups. We believe an approach combining expertise, continuing learning, and strategic planning can save your startup thousands of dollars annually. Our solution is a comprehensive, proactive tax strategy tailored specifically for tech startups, right? Because that's your niche. Our team is of experienced tax experts, stay up to date with the latest changes in tax laws, understands the in and out of startup taxation. We don't just file returns, we act as your strategic partner, okay? So action steps for tech startups. This is what you can do right now. So it gives those action steps, right? So assess your current tax strategy, explore tax credits. Has a little byline in here about many tax credits and deductions specifically benefit tech startups, such as the R&D. Are you taking full advantage of these, right? So in the tech startup space, R&D tax credits are huge, right? If you're not taking advantage of this, you might want to look into this. Of course, if I was running the real estate niche, this would be a totally different thing, right? Maybe I'll talk about 1031 exchanges or cost segregation, bonus depreciation, that sort of stuff, right? So you want to be detailed about what you're providing, okay? So engage tax experts, stay informed, all right? So then it kind of has a little closing as well. But like I said, this is going to be the first step. So I can take this and then I can pop this into, Microsoft Word or Google Docs and then kind of edit it, tweak it. Like I said, you're not going to copy verbatim, but you're going to get close as possible once you're comfortable with the language. And then you can go ahead and paste it into your own system, okay? I'm going to show you my system in a second. Now, before I do that, there's also maybe you want to maybe you're inspired by some other newsletter, right? There's tons of great accounting newsletters out there. I can't give a shout out to everyone, but let's say maybe you saw it online or you get it in your email or maybe it's a PDF, right? There's one I came across. I'm going to show you how you can actually copy an existing style, analyze it, and then create your own article that's kind of based on that, okay? So I'm going to use one with a PDF. So let's go back here. So let's go here to ChatGPT, and we're going to go to open up a new chat, and we're going to go again to GPT-4. We're going to just use the default here, okay? And now I'm going to have it analyze a particular PDF. So let's go to here's one that I like. I have no relation to these folks here. Let me kind of blow this up a little bit. I have no relation to these guys here, but I've been looking at the newsletter. I think it's pretty concise and detailed. So I want to use this as an example because they actually have it in PDF format. So let's just say I wanted to look at this newsletter. Let's just say the one from March 2023, the tax letter, selling a private business tax consideration. So let's click on this and let's go back here. So now we see that it's, let's just click on this PDF. Okay, here it is. So it's a tax newsletter, and let's kind of bring it up here. So we can see it's basically about selling a private business, okay? So now this is, I think, 3 pages here, so a lot of stuff. So what if you can just analyze it and just say, hey, I like the style, just kind of do the style and write an article for me. So we're going to do a prompt similar to that. So this is how we're going to set it up. I'm going to paste this prompt in here. So it goes like this. Analyze the style of this PDF newsletter, then write a 500-word newsletter article based on the subject. Avoid common tax pitfalls, save thousands as a tech startup using the following 5 sections, okay? So this is exactly what we just pasted before, but watch this last piece. Now at the bottom it says, here is the PDF and then you're going to literally use this as the link. So I'm literally going here and copying the link. It might be cut off here, but I'm literally copying and pasting the URL from this PDF document, okay? And then I'm using it to paste in here. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that the one you actually want is the one with the plugin. So by default, ChatGPT doesn't yet allow you to directly look at PDFs, but you can use a plugin. So again, this is the advantage of using the GPT-4 because it allows you to use these things called plugins, okay? So we're going to use plugins, and I have plenty of videos on the plugins, so you can check those out. I won't go into detail, but once you choose plugin, you're going to get a drop down, and you can just basically grab any, you're going to choose the plugin you want. In this case, I'm going to use one called Ask Your PDF. Okay, so if you don't know how to use it, you can just basically type in Ask Your PDF, and then it's going to basically search through the store. You're going to choose the actual plugin. Sometimes it takes a little while here. Okay, so I already have it installed, so it has uninstalled. So you'll click install, and then once it's installed, you're going to go to the drop down, activate it, and then once it's activated, now you can go ahead and paste in the prompt. And remember to make sure that you have that full URL in there. And then we're going to go ahead and click on enter. So what's going on right now is it's literally parsing that entire PDF, and whether it's like 3 pages or even something longer. I think it has a cutoff at about 3,000 words or so with this current edition of ChatGPT. So it's literally reading through the PDF and it's following your instructions. So based on the analysis, the style of the newsletter is professional, clear, and informative. It focuses on providing valuable insights and advice on tax considerations when selling a private business. The language is straightforward and the content is structured in a logical manner, making complex tax issues understanding for the reader. And this is why I like it, because I think it's very clear cut. Using this style, here's a 500-word newsletter article on avoid common tax pitfalls, save thousands as a tech startup. Okay, so kind of similar, but it kind of followed that style, right? So the problem, common solutions, their shortcomings, our unique solution, action steps for startups, and then so this is basically the last section here. Okay, so you can copy a style. If you don't want to use the whole outline method, you can actually edit that. You can do something like analyze this PDF, and then you can say something like write a totally new article for my firm specializing in tech startups. Okay, so you can just kind of feed it what you want it to do there, and you do the save and submit. So what it's going to do, it's going to take a look at that PDF document again. It's going to go through it. It's going to parse it. And hopefully what it's going to do is actually going to write a totally new article. So you don't have to worry about plagiarism here. It basically copies the style, but it does it in its own term. Of course, you're not going to kind of take this and copy and paste it. You want to edit this first, right? So it goes ahead and creates the title, but then it kind of gives you more detail, right? So in this part, it says ignoring R&D tax credits, misclassifying employees and contractors. Number 3, not keeping accurate records, right? So it's kind of giving a step-by-step breakdown. If we kind of look at this here, we kind of see, let's just see if it's similar style. Is there any breakdowns here? I think this is actually pretty wordy, so it doesn't really go into that, but it does have different sections here. Sale to employees. Yeah, so it does have different section headings there. Okay, so, and then, yeah, so overlooking state or tax, state or local taxes, not planning for tax payments. Okay, so basically kind of gives you that style. Okay, so this is it. Let's go back to our original newsletter that we wrote here. And if we want, what we can also do, let me think, I might have to refresh this here. If we want to, we can kind of do a little follow-up. So let's just say maybe we didn't really like the headlines because I think it gave us a few ideas. If we want to follow up and come up with some more interesting subject lines, because it's all about the subject line, right? If they don't like the subject line, they're not going to click and read it. And if they don't like the first line, they're not going to read the second line. So think about it like that. So I'm going to paste in the last prompt. So now give me 3 more compelling subject line ideas based on this article. Okay, so now that it actually wrote the entire article, now we're finalizing it by coming up with the final subject line that we want to use. Okay, so uncover hidden tax savings for your tech startup, your path to a robust financial future, avoid the tax trap, strategic tax planning for your tech startup, and smart tax strategies, how your tech startup can save thousands on taxes. Okay, so you can kind of go through this, iterate until you're content, and then, like I said, you are ready to finalize it, copy into Word doc or Google Docs, and then you can use your software of choice to be able to actually publish it. Now, in this case, and you can use whatever you like, MailChimp, ConvertKit. Let's kind of go into what I'm using here. So for my newsletter, like I said, I wanted to kind of break it down a little bit more. I'm using something called Beehive. It's kind of like this, you can do a subscription-based newsletter. It's a cool service. I really like it. It allows a lot of flexibility. So basically, I have my newsletter here, and you can see I make it really super easy to subscribe here. You just kind of pop in your email address. If I wanted to, I can set it up so that I can have it so that when you go to it, you can actually have it go to this, and you can do it so that they can read it first before they subscribe. Kind of builds a little trust and transparency before they commit to subscribing. Anyway, so like I said, this is Beehive, and I'm using my own domain here. And you can see I have like different, so I use different approaches to how I develop my templates, and this is something that you want to think about how you develop yours. So let's just kind of use my last example here. My style is, it's changing as I go along. I've started just a little over a month ago. And basically I kind of have it set so I have like a news section, right? So for example, unleashing the power of generative AI, reinventing your accounting career, okay? And then I have usually have an AI tutorial of the day. So write a client-ready tax deductions ebook with ChatGPT. And then I'll actually have the prompt, the ChatGPT prompt that I use, that I include a link to that you can actually grab. Okay, so that's how I structure it. I have a picture as well. I use something called Midjourney to create these. You can use something like Unsplash or any other free service to grab it as well. This is kind of like an AI generated watercolor that I like to use using a Midjourney service. Okay, anyway, so I have the basic sections here. I get some of my inspiration from ChatGPT, and I kind of write it in my own style, rewrite it, organize things. So I have the tutorial, and I usually have like a YouTube video that's embedded that has something to do with the article. Okay, so in this case, write a client-ready tax deductions ebook with ChatGPT, goes to my YouTube channel. If you're not already a subscriber, I encourage you to check it out. I post lots of good stuff on there. Then finally, my swipe file. So what is a swipe file? So with ChatGPT, you can literally share out the prompt. Okay, so in ChatGPT, if I wanted to share the prompt, I will go to the prompt, and I will click on this little up, and it will allow you to actually share it. So you can give it a name. You can change the name of it before you share it out, right? So I can say like, Mark's Accounting Newsletter. And then I can actually add my name with it as well. Okay, so you can do a little branding and then copy the link, and then you can actually share that link, and that's exactly what I do here. So I paste that link in there, and then if I click on this, so this one is writing an ebook combo. If I click on it, it will literally go to that conversation, and it will allow anyone you share it with to continue. So you don't want to share a private conversation. You want to use something that you're comfortable sharing, okay? So it allows them to continue the conversation and pick up where you left off from, okay? So that is pretty much it in a nutshell. And like I said, the last part about it is, really trying to monetize it. Let me kind of blow this up a little bit. Sorry, I had it a little small there, okay? So this is, like I said, kind of the structure here. And now what I'm looking to do is be able to monetize it a lot more. So for example, so there's a few different things that I do here, right? So for example, You want to add your social proof. Now, if you're just starting, you might not really have much of that. In this case, I ask folks to join 95,000 other accountants, tax pros, and entrepreneurs who follow me across my social channels, particularly on YouTube. My Twitter and LinkedIn, it's not as much right now. So right now, it's mostly focused on YouTube. Okay, and then what I do is also encourage them to sign up for it, and then I also ask them to invite a friend. If they really like it, they can share it, and then I go further and say invite friends and get some additional stuff. So I have a referral link where basically if they click on it, it'll track them. So for one referral, and I'll just kind of blow this up a little bit here, one referral, I will give out a video that I made on how I trained ChatGPT to do my taxes. So it's an in-depth video on how I structured a prompt to be able to do that. So I give that out with one referral. 5 referrals, the ChatGPT cheat sheet for accountants. So this is a 40-page mini book that I kind of put together, including some of my best prompts specifically for modern accounting firms. And then last, for 10 referrals, I have a free 60-minute one-on-one consultation with me on how you can use AI to grow your firm faster, $600 value. That's actually changed because right now I've actually reduced that to 20 minutes and I'm charging $500 for the 20 minutes. I need to update this, obviously. But yeah, it's been very busy, so I don't really have a lot of time these days anymore. So occasionally I'll go ahead and do this. And obviously for a referral, I will go ahead and do the 60-minute consultation for free. So if you like that, if you want that, I would encourage you to sign up for my newsletter where you can go ahead and get a lot of this information on what I'm talking about today. So this is really it in a nutshell, folks. I hope you find this helpful. If you haven't already, subscribe to my newsletter, and I will see you in the next video.